Good evening, everyone. Who needs a drink on a Friday night? Friday night live stream, not normal content, not the regular stuff, just a chat by the water cooler. Okay. Okay. How are you all? I just got in, had a bit of a scare in the building because I thought I could smell gas in the hallway. But I was mistaken. It seems someone else in the building was doing a big cleaning job and they were using some sort of weird liquid to clean the floors. Philip Manning sent me a PayPal. Thank you, Philip, as always, like clockwork, man. Yeah, these Italians, they're extremely clean people. Something they're not known for. They're known for their pizza and their loudness and their hand gestures. But what you may not know is they're extremely hygienic people. I mean, of course, they have the bidet. Every bathroom in Italy has a bidet. The idea of not using a bidet to them is gross. You have to kind of brush past that subject. You know, they come and visit another country, they go in the restroom, they just see a Walter, as they call it here, just the toilet seat, and they're like, "Where's the bidet?" And if you don't use the bidet, what do you do? Like this look of fear in their face. But when they get in and they clean their, because all the Italian pavimentos, the floors, they don't use carpet. You know, I grew up in Ireland and there was carpet around the whole house. Lovely and warm, lovely and soft. But the Italians, because of their extreme heat during the summer, the idea of having fur under your feet is obscene to them. So it's all stone or maybe wood, but usually some sort of stone floor. And when they get in and clean it, they use some crazy alcohol liquids and so on. Some of them really stink. So I think that's what it was. But we had a bit of a moment with the landlord and everything. Hey guys, good to see you all. Andy Dufresne tea. You know what? I was about to put on a pot of tea, but then there was that little mess and we just resolved it a minute ago. But I do want to make a tea. I do have a wine here. I haven't had, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I've featured an Amarone on the channel yet, have I? Maybe I have. I don't remember. But for some reason, I was like, you know what? I'm in the mood for an Amarone. Not the kind of bottle you can drink all of. Each glass is very heavy. Let me see how much. Yeah, it's 16%. Yeah, bomb in a bottle. Anybody in California is like, yeah, so what? Because all the Cali cabs are up there as well, 15.5, 16. But yeah, in case you ever think that Italian wines are kind of watery and thin, they have the thickest, heaviest one maybe in the world. So I'm going to pop that open in a minute once I get settled here. What's on the wrist? John, I'm glad you asked that. I was just over with Simone earlier. And actually, I was over with him last night. He got a new place. And I went over to see it. Absolutely gorgeous. So we had a little food together and a chat. And he said, I've had that 5513, that sub from the 70s in the store for a while. You think anybody in your audience wants it? I'm like, probably. It's a classic sub. Vintage sub. And I said, well, listen, I'll pop over tomorrow. And I had to pick up a couple of pieces anyway. that were lightly polished. Some of these pieces that I'm selling, I'll show them to you in a moment. So I said, while I'm over picking those up, you can give it to me. I'll wear it on the show, see if anybody wants it. And he's dropping the price, 8,500 for a for a 5513. That, my friends, is a classic sub. That's the real deal. I just said it a minute ago. I love winding these old Rolex. Why? Why do the old Rolex feel more important when you wind them? It's the same with my bluesy, my gold bluesy. Yeah, how many Rolex have I had? Like 80? I don't know. And it's just something about when you unscrew the crown on a vintage on a 5-digit and you wind it, you're like, you feel the, it's like you can feel the engine turning. It's such a heavy, it's smooth, but it's not grindy or anything. It's just like a heavy experience. You really feel like you're like rowing or something. It's like a big, just a lot going on the inside. And I was just like that here with this one. I'll give you another close up. Yeah, I mean, these things are, I just looked at Chrono there. For one of these, you're looking at 10, 10.5 euros. And I believe he had it listed for 10. But he was like, you know what? If somebody wants to buy it, I have a lot in stock right now. And it's sitting there. And he has a 5512 and he has some old 1655s and stuff, vintage stuff. And he's like, you know what? I'll let it go for 8,500. I'm like, wow. Shit, maybe I should buy it. No, I can't. I'm renovating an apartment right now, and I just bought a bunch of other watches. So beautiful, right? And it has I believe this is Hesalite. It was plastic or mineral back then, right? It's not sapphire, right? See, it's bulbous on the top. This is a classic, baby. Anybody wants it, just reach out to me. Oshinamali channel at gmail.com. I'm not going to make a diamond. I'm passing on the favor. He also had a beautiful Panerai 0176, I think. It's the ref. In titanium. So I sent that to a good friend who loves the Panerais. And last night as well, I tried on his Santos. There's a couple of very nice Santos, big ones, blue dial and green. I was like, dang. Mr. Dinkles, yes, I believe it is tritium. Where's my loop? Oops. It would be tritium, right? Tritium dial all the way back then. Has to be, right? Have a look. Yeah, T under 25. Tritium dial, guys. Now I look like a watchmaker. Like the loop on my forehead. I look like Darfour, Philippe Darfour. And it has the rattle. I have to say, the bracelet is lovely and strong. Like the closure of the clasp is like a new one, but it has the old vintage. The rattle. It's kind of like this, the Speedmaster. I feel like these are cousins. Cousins who fell out years ago and now don't speak to one another. This is 1987, so it's about 10 years, 15 years younger. But both from a different age, a different era. Told you guys I was focusing on watches tonight. Forget the world. Forget the world's problems, O'Malley. Just show us watches. That's what we tune in for. I have to say, look at the luster of the steel from the Rolex. Something about Rolex steel. It's unmistakable. So there's lots of rattle in the house. This one actually is for sale as well. I have two of these. ultra rare holy grail. You saw it on the Speedy video from the other day. I have two. Why do I have to? Because when I find I'm always on the lookout for one for these with the long S, long R, because that's hard to find both in good condition, which is very hard. And then, of course, most importantly, the 1450 bracelet with the 808 end links. The bracelet alone costs thousands if you find one. I know Forstner make I still have this thing in my head. I'm an idiot. Forstner make an imitation 1450 because they know that the real thing is so hard to find and people love the 1450. It's essentially the president bracelet, just 3 links, you see, identical to a Rolex president with half ovals. You might be looking at a photo of one of these on Chrono and you'd be like, oh, that looks like it. But then look for a photo from the side because you'll probably see full ovals, not the same as the half ovals. This is exactly like the president. But of course, Rolex don't make a president bracelet in steel. They only make them in gold or white gold or platinum. Only precious metal. So that's what makes this extra special. If you want this has box and papers and even the extract from the archive. Rashina Mali channel at gmail.com. And the same for the sub. You know, I'm surprised it doesn't look that small on me. Just goes to show. Maybe it's all in my head about this big and small problem. Very James Bond, says Ren Rag Handle. Yeah, well, this is, right? The 5512, 5513. The original Bond subs. Actually looks pretty fucking nice. What do you think? Maybe I should just keep it? I don't know. No. Don't be doing that. Jim Patterson Soul. Okay, man. If you want it. People are just jumping. Someone texted me today about the Patek, the world timer. And it looks like I'll have to hold it for them. So that might be gone. I left that one over with Frollo today as well because there's a small inscription on the back to the original owner. I think it was a gift from his company. So I'm having them laser remove it. I thought, well, that's got to stay because, polishing out an inscription from the back of a watch, the inscription is usually way too deep to polish something like that out. You'll remove half the fucking watch. But I stand corrected. Tommaso, who's Simone's son, who trained in Switzerland, was like, no, we use the laser machine. We fire a laser at it to kind of melt out the inscription. And then we repolish so you don't lose any of the gold. He was so happy because the pieces that I had left with him, to give them a light lick, just ever so slight, bring them back to new. He was so happy because he's like, I love working with gold. He's like, anything you have in gold you want to give me, please do. Because he's like, it's such a pleasure to work. Gold is so agreeable. Of course, you have to have a gentle touch. But he's like, steel is so fucking disagreeable sometimes. Like, gold is so happy, and you don't have to go at it heavy with the machine. Let's see what this Amarone is like. She's thick. Glass is a little. It's just water stains. My God, Amarone is like. Oh, it's a bomb. It's a bomb. Jesus, this is beautiful. I can see myself you see on the screen. This is a beautiful fucking watch. Oh, damn. I guess this was the proportions they were trying to get back to when they released the 41 mil in 2021, right? They were going for that kind of like the way the bracelet glides nicely into the head of the watch. It's a not a tight fit, but an even fit on my big meat hooks. If you don't have 8-inch wrists, it'll be a little looser and you can adjust. You have the clasp here. AUM John Fisher loom. No, this. Where's my little loom lamp? That's over the other side. No, this is tritium, man. It'll loom up for 3 seconds and then it'll disappear. You know, tritium has a half-life of 12.5 years. This is a 50-year-old watch. But yeah. Jason, the loom is long gone on 5513. Yeah, I mean, it'll fire up for like, it'll fire up crazy while I have the light on it. And then you remove the light and it doesn't hold. It just goes, it disappears. It's kind of dramatic. And I suppose it is an interesting concept to be walking around a radioactive isotope on your arm. Not that there's any danger. Tritium isn't really, it's unstable electron, like jumps about a millimeter. You know, it's not any of the artifact, or what do they call it? Radioactive artifact? What do they call that when you put it in one of those machines, like that smoke? Any nuclear physicists in the room? You put it in that machine to highlight and you do like a super cooled alcohol treatment, and so you can see the unstable atoms fly off. You have like alpha and beta. The alpha strips are like thick and short, and then the beta strips are like curvy. You wouldn't see anything off of it. You would have to literally break the thing open, take the dial, and stick it in your mouth to have any, radioactive exposure. Radium now is a different thing. That's what they used to use way back in the day. Now that is a totally different. I think radium is like half-life of 16,000 years, a whole different story. That's a Speedy also has tritium dial and tritium hands. How are all you guys? I've meant to mention John's Substack again. He's been on the channel a couple of times in the past couple of weeks because of things that have been going on out there in the big bad world. But I was, people love him, they love listening to his take on things. And I realized it was at the very end of the streams that I was telling people, well, if you want more of this, you can find it on John's Substack. It's called Stop Screaming, I'm Scared Too. And you will find it at this link here. I'll put it in the chat so you can click on it directly. I'll bring you straight there. There it is on the screen. He just released one tonight, 3 hours ago, called Scared to Death. And then there was one from yesterday, which I was supposed to listen to, but I didn't get around to. Give him a sub. He's flying up in subs now, nearly 130. It's really, really intelligent stuff. So it's substack.com// at John L. Richard. If you like to listen to a very interesting podcast, on your way to work in the car or something, that's the way to do it. And there's a bunch of them already. So if you're new to it, you've got plenty to get back through. They're all very good. You don't have to read. You can read them if you want, or you can press play and AI will read it to you, or in many of the cases, he's reading it to you. And he's a pretty good timbre. Nice lilt to his voice. So check that. I also have a Substack, but it's this show. So if you're watching, however, if you miss it after the fact, you can just listen to it on your Substack app, on your phone, on the train, or going to work or whatever. Shall I light up a cigar? There's the man himself, John L. Richard. Thank you for the shout out. Have a drink on me. I certainly will. Thanks, brother. You don't need this sub because you've got the new version. You have the 41 mil. Everybody wants to talk about politics. I suppose that's my fault. Now, I'm going to avoid it tonight. Listen, if you don't know what's going on, I don't know what to say to you. Some bad shit happening. But as I've said many times before, don't blame the man. He was always pretty honest. It's not his fault if he tells everyone his intentions and the way he feels. And then he goes ahead and acts on that once he gets into office. He can't complain. He's doing pretty much what he said he'd do. Apart from all the good shit, like bringing the price of eggs down, which he didn't, and ending the Ukraine-Russia war, which he didn't, etc. Gaza, which is not a ceasefire at all, etc., etc. But don't be surprised about the other stuff, the ugly stuff. You can't blame him for being him. You can blame the people who put him in there. Those you can blame, and I will. But apart from that. Anyway, can't beat a drop of red wine, says Simon Morris. Ain't that the truth? Mass spectrometer. No, it's called a cloud something or other. It's a big thing with a glass dome on it. I can't remember. I used to read a lot about nuclear stuff, fission, fusion, and chemical elements and isotopes. And I find it all very fascinating. As it happens, if you're into watches, there's an overlap because of, yes, radium, tritium, and then cesium, right? 133 that they use in atomic clocks. Turns out if you stimulate cesium, it vibrates, it oscillates actually, just like a balance bridge in a watch. But I had something to, here. Oops. Don't want the window all the way open because it's cold, but I need the window slightly open, otherwise it's gonna. Just want to make sure there's no watches. Turns out there was one. was just about to put this thing on a radiator, hold the window open. It wouldn't have been good for the poor old Tudor chrono. Yes. Jason says bubble chamber. I don't know. Someone will come up with the terminology. Not too many in the room tonight. That's okay. They're probably like, I'm not tuning into that guy anymore. He's always talking about current affairs. Macallan Drinker, any chance of a state of collection video? I was just thinking about that. I truly was. Yeah, because there's been a lot of additions. There's been a lot of very interesting additions to the collection in recent months. It's worth doing a state of collection video. I haven't done one in years. Cloud Chamber, microbiologist. Cloud Chamber, I think that's it. It's just something you want to see the unstable electron dancing around. That's basically what it does. The radioactivity. I mean, if it's uranium ore or something, then it's going to be quite the fireworks show. Or plutonium 244, 242. Or strontium. These things will fucking kill you if you get near them. But then there's like weak ones like tritium, iodine, that's very weak, etc., etc. Yaki Yak 21. Hello from Galway. Look at all these doggies. If you're going to live in Galway, you should have a lot of doggies like that. They're all sheepdogs, I think. One of the most intelligent canines. There's Ray Ray. Hello, Galway. Because Ray Ray's not far from there. In fact, he might actually be in Galway. There's a lot of people subscribing to the Substack. Never mind my Substack. Go over to John's. I secretly want John to kind of start doing that full time because he's very good at it. And he's done his years of service. So Patricia subscribed. Well done. Yeah, I wonder what this new one is. I'm curious. I like listening to them in the morning. Don't know why. Maybe it's because every time I'm talking to John, he's always having coffee. He's having his morning coffee and he's thinking, pontificating. I start getting voice messages and we start chatting about all sorts of stuff. So I get up in the morning, I'm like, oh, there's a new Substack, great. And I just play it on my phone. I go into the, sorry, John, I listen to you while I'm taking a piss. And taking a shower and putting on I start the coffee machine because I still have the habit of doing American style drip coffee machine thing. It's not gone away. I love Italian espresso, yes. And the Italians consider that kind of drip coffee to just be dirty water. That's what they call it, dirty water. But hell, I like it. I like a big cup of coffee. And I like to refill and refill again. I'm never getting out of that habit. There's just too much comfort in it, especially in the cold months. I should show you more watches because we're sticking to watches tonight, right? Any questions on watches? I'm sure there are. Oh, what Rolex edition book is on your desk? Well spotted. How did you spot that? You guys have sharp eye. This is a book I got from a viewer. Actually, it was a gift only a couple of weeks ago. This, speaking of the Submariner, is the book on the Submariner. Boom. And in here somewhere, I don't know where it is. There's a nice dedication there from the person who sent it to me. In here somewhere is an index of all the Submariners up till, I think, 2010 or 2020 of the whole production. It must be 2020, right? Because this book just came out last year. There's the red line. That's a beauty. That'll cost you a pretty penny if you can find one of those. They have them all the way up to, hey, there's the, that's the 5512. That's almost what I have on the wrist there. The 5512. But they have the production numbers, which were never released until last year. Rolex finally pulled their skirt up and showed us what they had. There's the development of the Rolex cases from over the years. Wow. So that's the third one down, is the one I have on my wrist. This feels extra special now to be wearing this. Geez, maybe I should keep it. Nah, I'm kidding. Looks like someone already wants it. I knew it would sell. That's what I told Simone. I was like, are you kidding me? You know my audience? You know how into watches these guys are? Give them a good deal on 5513. Anyway, somewhere in here there's a big index. You can find it actually on Google. Somebody scanned it. But it's the production numbers from over the years. Because until they finally admitted, it was all conjecture, people were making educated guesses about the production numbers. The Meredith is in the room. Good evening, all. Classics always. For me, it seems I'll be heading to Italy. Hunting pre-Vendome pieces. Budget set. Wow. Well, if you're coming here, you better come through Venice. Or if you're not, I'll take a train to wherever you are. I assume you're going to be in Florence. Just going to take a wild guess. Who knows why? I'll come meet you right at that store there because it's right opposite the famous cathedral. It's right in that piazza. All the Panerai. That's the Panerai headquarters of the world, that place. We'll try on some watches and then wander down for a cigar. You don't drink, I don't think, but you do like a cigar, I think. That's fine. I could use a trip to Florence. I should be there right now. P.T. Uomo is on. I feel the FOMO, the fear of missing out. Alexandra Dobra is there, and other popular characters, but I'm not. Oh well. But a lot of my friends are there. I just got a call from one today who met some guy Very interesting guy. And he says, you need to connect with this dude. He's a filmmaker. I'm sending him to Venice. Bring him out for drinks. I'm like, sure. Thank you again, the Meredith, for the wonderful super chat. And look at this, Gobbery coming in hard. For a fare to see the Meredith. Wow, look at that, Meredith. He just covered my my train and some of the hotel. Definitely the train ticket. There and back. Yeah, I'll do a live stream. Florence is a beautiful city. Once I'm done with this new place, like getting it ready, and I'm all settled, I'm going to start looking at other places for a second, an alternative place that I can go between. You never know. Florence might be, although I don't feel like it's far enough away. I feel like maybe Turin, or something very different. Maybe down south, who knows? Or maybe a different country. But when you're weighing up there's so many other beautiful cities in the world. But when you weigh them up against any Italian town, it's hard. It's hard, man. I could go to Seville or somewhere, Vienna or something, but then whatever these cities have to offer, there's like 50,000 Italian cities that can offer the same or better. So I don't know. I think I told you guys this story before, but I'll never forget it. I went to Vienna the first time years ago now. Supposed to turn into a video, but still hasn't. I just got a message from my brother the other day who lives there. He's like, if you want your snowy Vienna in the cold, your Mozartian looking Vienna, it's happening right now. I was like, damn. Anyway, magnificent. It's a beautiful city. Architecture is wonderful. And if you're coming from, I don't know, name a kind of boring looking town, it probably looks like it's probably life changing, If you're coming from, I don't know, Detroit or somewhere, coming into Vienna, you're probably like, oh my God, gobsmacked. But coming from Italy, yeah. So we were there. I brought my daughter the first time. We did a lot of filming. Still have all the footage. Still have a half finished Final Cut Pro session. And so we were there for 3 or 4 days. And then we came back. It was during COVID, actually, so we couldn't fly. We had to take a train. It was a long train journey. But we had fun anyway. And we were kind of tired. We got into the train station and jumped on one of the boats to come back over here. And she was a little cooked, ready to have a long shower and just go to bed. So it was a tiny bit grumpy, not mega grumpy or anything. But I looked at her. I was just looking at Venice, after being away for 3, 4, 5 days, whatever it was. And I was like, you know what? Vienna is beautiful, but gotta say, look at this shit. She had her arms folded, like kind of grumpy, and she was like, well, I didn't have any doubts. You don't know, avevo dubbi. You know, as in like what? Yeah, show me your pretty city and hold my beer. She got a little proud Italian right there. I mean, what's the point? Like, nowhere can compare to these places here. John Smith, Taormina. I've never live in Taormina. It's too touristy. I know. I'm in Venice, right? It's pretty rich to say that when you're living in maybe the most touristy town in Italy, but no, Taormina is it's very beautiful. I think if I moved to Sicily, I would go to somewhere with a little less of just the wealthy tourists. There's a lot of Godfather T-shirts and windows and stuff in Taormina. It's a little. I think I'd probably go to Catania or Palermo, somewhere with a bit more of the real juice. Because it's funny, every time you talk to an Italian about Sicily, they're always like, "Oh yeah, you should go. It's got a different feel and it's so cheap. The food is great and it's so cheap down there." But not in Taormina, it's not. Mark Hall. I aim to buy either a Zero West or Panerai Luminor this year. Any recommendations? Risk slightly smaller than mine. Yeah, I can see the resemblance Zero West and Panerai. You can tell the guys in Zero West love Panerai. The thing about a Zero West is it's very, very rare. They're very limited watches, limited pieces. You're not likely to run into anyone else with a Zero West on. And if you do, you've got to go directly to a bar with that guy and buy him a drink and get talking. Whereas, you will see Panerai is a much bigger brand, obviously, with much deeper history. My favorite of the Zero Wests, I'll pull them up actually because I'm still working on their new video. And the new Longitude, which is all about John Harrison. It's taken me a long time because the story is just so gargantuan. I kind of didn't realize what I was taking upon myself. I could make a silly short video, but that wouldn't be very mean, would it? But this is it's based on the H4, the first marine chronometer watch that changed the world, actually. And it's where they get their name from. Zero West is the meridian there, the GMT meridian outside of London there in Greenwich. That's its longitude. This one I love, the Spitfire Escape, this one on the left, because it's so kind of military looking, especially on that strap. And it has that secret code in the back that only lights up when you put a UV light on it. It's amazing. But my favorite of all time, and they're probably sold out because, again, these guys sell out. Look, do they even have any left? This is the one I love and I wear often. The DV1 Lancaster, the Dam Busters, sold out. Because like the back is made of metal from the Lancaster, from the dam busting Lancaster. It's crazy. Where's the other one? Oh yeah, this one, the RAFC. I had one for a while. They sent me like all their models in a big box one time to film the shit out of everything. But then they're like, okay, we want our watches back now, you little fucker. I was like, yeah, okay. This was one of my favorites. Look at that thing. But sold out. All their shit sells out. In fact, the new Longitude, I think there's only 50 pieces of each because the side has a piece of that Spitfire from the story. If you haven't seen my Spitfire Escape video, all about the Great Escape, go look for it. Yeah, the side of these watches is a chrono, and then there's this one. Let me look at the chrono for a sec. There's a plate from that actual plane that went down. Was it in Scotland? I can't remember the story now. Or was it in Norway? The Germans used Norway as like a parking spot for their big bombers, their big ships. And there's a piece on the side. That's pretty cool, but the coolest part is the back. Because of that secret mission, the Great Escapes, just so. Oh, sorry. No, I'm talking about completely different things. Sorry, brain fart. I'm talking about the other one. Sorry, the Great Escape was the other one. I'm mixing them up now, Egypt. This is the one I'm talking about. Where's the piece of metal I wanted? There it is. You see, there's only 55 out of 100. They only made 100 of those. I think they only made 50 of the Longitude. Not sure. Anyway, very nice watch. Well done to them. Very original, very unique. In many ways, kind of like Panerai, you know a Panerai from across the room, don't you? You see a Panerai. There's no mistaking a Panerai. Amarone. I think Amarone. Yes. There you go, Darren Roberts. Only 50 of the L3 and L4. There you go. It's only 50. Geez, by the time the video comes out, they'll probably be sold out already. What else is everyone saying? Lawrence has 3 Zero West watches. Which 3? You have a Dam Busters? "12 marathons, popped with Brunello. Contemplating a Platona." Ooh, look at you. Someone's living the high life. Someone's living large. Have you ever reviewed one? No, man. I would like to have one in my hands. I had a Platona on my wrist last year in Geneva. We were at dinner. Tim Wright and Sean and all the gang. And one of the lads there had a Platona on. He was sitting right across me. I was like, "Do you mind if I just take a look at that thing?" He was like, "Sure." Man, it was heavier than I thought. I knew it would be a heavy watch. And I'm used to heavy watches, gold watches. But shit, that was way heavier than I thought it would be. And it was beautiful. But I don't really like reviewing a watch unless it's in my hands. I mean, what kind of review could I possibly do unless I had one in my hands? It's nice to, like a watch like that, you want to take out to the Florian, in the piazza. Have afternoon tea, wearing the Platona. You want to get nice slow motion shots of that and stuff. If you don't have one in your hands, what am I going to do? Use stock footage or whatever. Nah. The Meredith once again. Gabri said something to the Meredith. Maybe I missed it. Machines A to be sorted Italian cities or something else. Nothing really compares. It'd be nice to finally get to hang out with a Meredith after all this time. Jay Beaches, would you sell a Seamaster 300M to get the new Speedmaster? No, I'm not going to sell the 300M. I love the new Speedmaster. I think it's a nice watch. It is kind of weird that it's more money. That's a little odd. You know, I mentioned in my video the other day that dial changes can change the price of a watch drastically. And I gave an example of the Tiffany OP and the John Mayer green dial gold Daytona. But that's really only the market where it's different. Like a Tiffany OP is the same price as any of the other OPs from Rolex. They don't charge extra for their other dial, right? It's just we make a big fuss about it and then it goes up on the market. So in a way, it is kind of weird that Omega go, okay, Sapphire Sandwich Speedy, 8,900 euros. This new one, 10.3, where sure, okay, it is an interesting dial and it has this ceramic bezel and so on. But I feel like they should have priced it at the same and just let the thing sell out, you know, let people go crazy about it like Rolex would do. But anyway, despite me liking the release and thinking it's a great watch, as I mentioned in the video, for me, a Speedy is about old. A modern Speedy to me is a bit of a contradiction in terms and ways, especially the Moon watch. I think if you're going for a Speedy, I mean, there's lots of beautiful new ones, and I don't want to make anyone feel bad that they have a new one. It's a great watch. It's technically a better watch these days. But for me, if you're a Speedmaster guy, you're about the history, you know. Now, this is not a 321. That would be the Holy Grail. But the 321s, you know, they go for 25 grand and up in many cases, the old ones. This is an 861, but the 861s went to space a lot as well. And they were more reliable movement to the 321. So for me, it's a lot about the history. You're wearing a Speedy. It's a vintage thing, you know. I suppose a lot of people would feel the same about the sub. They'd be like, yeah, the new ones are nice, but you really want a Submariner, you got to go Bond. You Sean Connery, you know, you got to go back to that or something like that, you know. Opry. And the food and the wine, the fashion, the music, the history, the watches, the girls. Good list. I like that list. In that order as well. The girls can be at the end of the list. They're trouble. They only get me in trouble. But we have to include them. Yeah, John says if I ever got a Speedy, it'd be one from the 80s. Yeah, I feel like you'd probably get one of these things. Yeah. Listen, you can't swim with it around it, but it was never designed for that. It was, you know, it's designed for space. There ain't no water or humidity in space. It's a different kind of thing. So no, as much as I said in the video, oh, I kind of want that watch and blah, 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 the new Speedy. Truth is, and by the way, the original 321 movement was based on the Lemania 3210, a groundbreaking movement. Omega took it, made slight adjustments, and called it the 321. It's a column wheel vertical clutch chronograph. But recently, I just acquired. Is it here? No, it's not here. I just acquired a Vacheron that has that movement. not the Omega version. It is the Lemania 3210, but with Vacheron's little touches. And as you can imagine, so when you turn it around, you're looking basically at the 321, the famous 321. But in the Vacheron style of things, which has way bigger boobs and way bigger lips. So I don't need no 321. You know what I mean? I kind of jumped over that hurdle. Andy Dufresne says there's a wait list online, 1150 on Chrono already. Yeah, there's a little hype. You saw all the channels, not just mine, but all the other channels did a thing and got good views and everything. It's been a while since there's been any kind of excitement about a new Speedy, right? I feel like. There's John Fisher again, €2. Did you forget to put your question in, man? God, I kind of love this thing. It actually has, because it has that Hess light, it has the warping, the distortion when you turn the watch to the side, just like the Moon watch has. You know, I've never really thought about vintage subs in steel. I've thought about them, of course, but for some reason I never really chased that thing up. I mean, I had the Bluesy, which was from 1993, so technically that's a vintage watch. And it felt like it, you know. The clasp was a little bit, you know, grindy when you close it and so on, because over the years, the gold is so malleable, you know. Things begin to kind of bend. But added to the charm, probably. But now I have this on the wrist, I'm like, fuck. Is it all about vintage subs? Is that what the world is made for? Is that what the reason we're all here? Because of vintage subs. I have to say the light, and I'll continue to say this, and I know you're all pissed off listening to me say it, hearing me say it. The light that comes off the older steel is different to the new steel. Yeah, I think this is pre-904, right? Was it 316 they used back then before the 80s? I think they introduced 904 in the 80s. I don't know. I guess it must be the brushing that they used. But the light that comes off of the way it shines is different to the new ones. It just is. And I thought I was losing my mind. And then I picked up Sea Dweller ST43 from the AD. This was back in my old place. And then a viewer who was collecting vintage stuff found an old Fat 4 Kermit in new old stock condition, never ever touched, never brushed or, you know, polished or anything, never worn. It was full stickers. He sent it to the house because he was in Great Britain at the time. He was like, I can't send it here, and I'll just send it to you, and when I come through Venice, I'll pick it up. I said, sure. So there I had like an example of an untouched one, and I did a side-by-side. I think I posted it on my Instagram. I'll repost it tonight if I remember to do so. It's not the same. The steel, it just shines differently. It's either a slightly different blend of nickel and chrome and so on in the steel, or it's a different brush. It's more likely just a different brush they use. They might use a finer brush these days to do the finishing, the final stages. and a more coarse one, or vice versa. I don't know what it is, but it's hard to tell on the camera, but there's just something different about the way it reflects light. It's very hard to describe. There's a luster. G Madden, for a one and done, a clean vintage sub. Either a 1680, which is, of course, that's the original Sean Connery Bond one, right? Or a 5513. Cannot be beaten. Chef's kiss. Well, now you're just making me want to keep the thing. Emmanuel Rodriguez got the call for a Polar yesterday. A Polar Explorer 2. And picked it up today. Super happy. Congrats, Emmanuel. Look at your lovely family. Very nice. Congrats, man. Carlos Mavrogenis says they started with 904L, the 16750 GMT Master from the 80s. Yeah, sometime in the 80s they started using 904L. So it must be the brush they used, because I would swear this is 904L. Do you know what I mean? Roger Meeker, $20. Still loving my recently acquired 16618 Bluesy. Thanks to you. Mahalo. Cool, man. Did I inspire you to get that watch? Pretty nice watch. Congrats. There's a one and done. Pickle, thoughts on FP Journe? I was in FP Journe boutique last year in Miami. A friend of mine has a stash of cigars and scotch there. I know, ooh la la, right? They have a bar, and behind, up on the wall, they have people's private stashes and boxes and cages for their really high-level clients. And he's one of them. So we all went over and had this lovely terrace there on the water. It's in the name of that district there, Brickell or whatever. Kind of like a financial district. Big buildings, lots of money. And yeah, we had scotch and cigars out on the terrace, and I was looking at watches and talking to the guys there. I mean, you think Rolex is an exclusive club? It ain't. Not next to this. I mean, working your way up to getting the call for an FP Journe. Good luck. I think they're beautiful. I think they're one of the great watch brands. Super elegant, super high level. Different sort of thing. I had a Panda Daytona on today over at Frollo, the new one, with the slightly different, slightly different everything. I hadn't actually seen one in the well, I had in Geneva when they were released, but I couldn't hold one in my hand. Anyway, it was on my wrist today. I'll post the video on Instagram later. But it was funny because Tommaso had just polished a couple of these high-level pieces for me, and he sat at the Panda Daytona next to them, and he's like, it looks like next to these wild high level Uber horology pieces. It looks a little bit basic, doesn't it? I was like, yeah, it's some of these brands they're the next level up. It's like that bloody Vacheron Chrono. It's like, oh my god. I should show you anyway these pieces. I've showed you those already, but now that they're back. One I forgot to bring was the Trump watch. Trump watch. It's his favorite watch to wear. He's like the only notable celebrity who wears one. Which is why I call it that, but it's a Vacheron Ultra Fine, which is mine now. And it does have a couple of light scuffs, so I wanted to get that done, but I forgot to bring it over. And I'm probably going to sell the Cartier. I love the Cartier Drive, but the Cartier, what I did when I got it was it filled that kind of dress watch gap that I had in my collection a little. The simple 3-hander, although it does have a date, but whatever. And I love this. It's a gorgeous dress watch, but I don't need more than one fine dress watch. Like, it is a beauty. And I love it. But then I have this. So I'm like, when would I put this on instead of that? You know what I mean? I can't think of a scenario. So I'll probably sell this and I'll miss it. But, okay. That's enough of that rambling. I'll show you the ones I had polished. And once again, polishing gold and polishing steel are very different things. Polishing steel, you really got to push it into that brush, the machine. And it takes a lot of brutality. He pushed with brutality the poor woman in the car. She is your wife. What's that? Anybody get that quote? Yes, it was here. I saw it. What exactly did you see? Exactly. I saw them push the woman in the car. She is your wife. Gold, on the other hand, is not the same. You just barely touch it, with a soft brush, and which is good because you don't want to lose any gold now, do you? It's a very agreeable metal. So this is the Piaget Altoplano. This one is still for sale. DG got the quote. Frantic with Harrison Ford. The Piaget Altoplano. I kind of want to keep this, but I have the Vacheron Ultra Fine. Look at that. And Tommaso pointed out something I didn't even notice. He goes, it's still got the sticker on the back. I said, no, it doesn't. He goes, look, click carefully to see the movement. Look at a mini rotor in there. When this was released, it was not only the thinnest mechanical watch in the world, but the thinnest automatic winding mechanical watch in the world. The Vacheron is not. The Vacheron is 0.1 of a millimeter slimmer than this, but it is not automatic winding. Look at that work of art. And now that it's polished, look at the fucking rose gold. Now, if you want this, you better have the wrist for it. You better need a dress watch of extreme elegance, because that's what dress watches are about. They're about simplicity. And you better be a big guy, because this is not a small Watch now. It's going to look normal on my wrist. You'll be like, "What's the big deal?" But trust me, it's it's for the lads with at least 7.7-inch wrist. It's not again, looks like a regular 39 mil on me, but look at that fucking thing. Fuck. I was looking for them on Chrono. Now, there's no boxing papers with this. I mean, the guy who's selling these watches, he doesn't keep boxing papers. He's billionaire. He doesn't fucking think about things like that. Piaget Alto Plano, right? Altiplano. There's a few different ones. Let me share this over. There's one with a date, but that's Hong Kong. Gotta remove. I want Europe. Location, Europe. Boom. I should have the reference, shouldn't I? A few of them. Here, I'll log in. Let me remove the screen for a sec. I'll log in because it's in my collection. And that has all the info. Okay. Watch collection. I'm going to show you my whole watch collection. See current listings. Okay, here we are. Boom, boom, boom. There they are. And we're going to remove. Why include Hong Kong? There's no point in buying from over there. All the fees would be insane. Here we are. There's one in Switzerland. No box, no papers for 11. That's her. I'm going to tell you a price in a minute. Just hang on to your knickers. Okay, this one has the date, so this one's slightly different. You want 15.4 for that, and it has boxing papers, fine. These are all price on request. That doesn't look like he owns the watch, does it? It's just use a stock photo. It's an Irish dealer as well. What that means is he knows someone who has one and he'll buy it from them if you buy it off him here. So any real, I mean, there's one in Spain that looks like the same deal. Price on request. I believe the retail on these was 21,000 or 22. Look up that reference. One moment, please. Yeah, there's one at Rocca, which is a big fancy store here in Rome, for 21. You want to know how much this one is? 7,500. Stop your grinning and drop your linen. Reach out to me at Oisin O'Malley Channel, gmail.com if you want it. And freshly, lightly polished, but still has a sticker. He also said there's one of the stickers still on one of the sides, which I don't seem to be able to locate. Is that one of the lugs? Anyway, we're leaving the stickers on, obviously, because you get to peel it off yourself if you feel so inclined. It's astonishing. What a beauty. Let me take a puff and Drink. Andy Dufresne, the Geneva Seal. Where would I find that? Is it on the Movement? Does the Piaget have the Geneva Seal? Is it on the Movement? I don't know. God, the detail is beautiful, though. Look at that gold rotor. That's crazy. Yeah, that's a beauty. Again, for the larger lads. And the other one is that I just had polished is Take Your Breath Away Time. I think these went for 180,000 when they were released. If you're not aware, Breguet invented the tourbillon. So if you want a tourbillon watch, a true one, you should get a Breguet because that's truly that's a real tourbillon. And this is the Classique Tradition, I think. There's been so many new watches, I can't keep up. And Breguet are funny because they have like Traditionnel, Tradition, you know, all these names that sound the same. Breguet Classique Tourbillon. So I'll show it to you. Oh, Andy said it's on the Movement. I'll go look again in a minute. Sorry. So just a light polish because there was just general scuffs along the edge, you know. Yeah, as you can see now, it's immaculate. That, my friends, is a real tourbillon. You ready for the back? Get ready. Boom. The back is a work of art, all hand engraved, no two alike. I'm not going to tell you the price on live and air. You'll have to reach out to me. But it's nothing like what it used to cost. Let me look for them on Chrono real quick. I'd love to just keep all these myself, but I can't. I already took a few. I already took one of the Breguets and two Vacherons. Yeah, there's one in the Netherlands. No papers for 42. Well, this one's less than that. Look at that. Look at the detail. There is also the 5130, the Patek, but as I said, I think someone is moving on it. Sorry. If they don't, I'll let you guys know. See a lot of other listings. There's one for 38. No box, no papers. That's kind of typical of these pieces because the kind of guy who buys these kind of pieces, like whoever bought this for 180 grand from Breguet, they don't keep the box and pay. We do. Us poor sods. We keep the box and papers. The uber wealthy are not concerned with this stuff. You can see the power reserve there. It's all the way down. As you wind the watch, this goes over to the right like that. And this is a 24-hour scale. So when it's down there, that means it's 1 in the morning, 10 to 1 in the morning. You know, because if this was in the center, you know, it was 10 to 1 in the afternoon. That's the way it works. Stunner. So yeah, pretty damn nice. Here's one in the US for 37. This is euros I'm talking. Again, look, without original documents and without the original box. Look, this what happens. There's one in Hong Kong. 39. Nice detail in that photo, though, I have to say. Very nice. You really see what's going on there. Yeah. Isn't it great to just talk watches? Price of the Cartier Mega Fanboy. You can have it for 4. I will cry. I think I paid 4.6. That's euros. Box and papers. I'm gonna put it on though. Love it. I just don't know when I would wear it. Now that I have two dress watch Vacherons and a Breguet, you know, if I'm going to someone's wedding, I'm gonna wear one of those, right? Otherwise, this would have been my wedding watch. You know what I mean? Let me put more light on the subject. It's mint. And I recently saw a photo on Chrono of somebody who had it on a bright, light brown crocodile from Cartier, and it looked beautiful. I was like, yeah, nice watch. Yeah. I love the way Cartier do white. It's not white, it's like ivory. Stunning. Yeah, I mean, listen, if I wasn't renovating a house at the moment, I'd probably be like, no, I'm not selling anything. I'm keeping. But, you know, gotta be a bit smarter than that. What was I gonna do? On the movement, oh yes. You know what? I'll take a photo later, Andy, and send it to you. And he prefers the drive more than the square. Are you sure? Let me put. You didn't see the square on my wrist yet, or maybe you did in a different video. You sure? I'll give you time to reconsider. The strap on this is like cream. You sure about that? I got my gosh. Come on. Silver dial, solid silver dial. Rose gold. Stunning. It's a fucking head turner, man. Unusual because it's square, but that's nice. We like that. I mean, it doesn't match my jewelry over here. I have to put on gold over here, but that's least of my problems. I mean, if someone wants to buy it, I'll sell it for 10. But I'm happy to keep it because it is. I think it's very particular. You don't see many of them around. Any Trump fans out there, they'll be like, I want to feel closer to Donald. And wear the same watch. Then if you ever happen to be in the same room as him, you can always go, hey, twinsies. Stealth Tech, not a Square fan, but to be fair, it does look lovely. Yeah, me neither. I'm not a huge Square fan either. But man, when you do it like this, it ain't what you do, it's the way that you do it. Do you remember Bananarama? When you do it this well, changes the discussion. Ray, Jesus, that watch belongs in our gallery. With the Breguet, yeah, I know. I know. The Breguet's on my other Breguet. It's yeah. They're works of art. I mean, you couldn't get two more different watches. Look, this will tell you how funny or illustrate how funny the watch game is. There's a beautiful vintage 5513 next to a VC ultra fine. Two completely different. This is the original tool watch, the Manley tool watch. There ain't nothing tool about this. You look at this twice the wrong way and it cracks open. You don't want to get it near anything. Mind you, I was cooking over the Christmas with this on. There was something very sexy about it. There was something very sexy about like doing the turkey and, chopping potatoes and so on with my daughter next to me with this bitch on. And I was wearing not a black shirt. I don't wear black shirts. I wear a black t-shirt, but not black shirt. Deep blue that appears black, but blue is really the only true color in the sartorial world. And because you put on a nice pair of slacks and a shirt for Christmas, but I had the sleeves up a little because I was working in the kitchen. I was careful, but not too careful. It wasn't like, oh God, don't touch that. I was just like, come on, let's live. Let it live. And there was something very classy about that. 5513 all day says ticking time. Yeah. Well, I think it's sold. I think Jim earlier said he wants it. But reach out to me anyway, because maybe he'll change his mind or whatever. People do that sometimes. And then I'll give it to you if you want it. Yeah, it is beautiful. Again, when you unscrew the crown and you wind, oh my God. The chap earlier with his gold sub, I'm sure he concurs. There's something about the crown and the way the whole thing grips. Doesn't feel quite the same in the 6-digit ones for some reason. Yes. Get a Reverso. Well, someday. Yeah, just got 2 VCs and a Breguet. Lay off. Mike Lewis, the tribute monoface Milanese. Yeah, I know. Now, the one I want is the one I had on in Miami. It was at the FP Journe thing I just mentioned. It was that night. We met up with a bunch of big high rollers. I don't even know who these guys were. One guy had a solid gold perpetual Patek worth $2 million on his wrist. I was like, Jesus Christ, I never even saw one of those things in the flesh. Some heavy rollers in that room, all sipping on scotch, and the doors closed. When FP Journe is your bar, you're hanging out with some big shots. And one of the guys had just picked up that chronograph, the JLC Reverso chronograph in rose gold that day. And he was like, it's great value. It was only 38,000. I was like, he says that the way other people say it was only $38. So I put it on the wrist and I took some footage. You've seen it probably in some of my videos. I was like, oh God, this. But not Not for now. How could I complain? I have all these amazing new pieces. DJ's at Etna Rosso. It's not. I'm actually having Amarone. I never drink Amarone. I just felt like an Amarone tonight. I don't know why. It's big and bombastic. She might be giving me a bit of a headache, to be honest. Swollen wrist chick. That's are you a troll? Or are you no, it must be a troll. Wrist chick is a different person. True or false, you don't own the Brigade Vacheron, and a viewer sent them. I do. I own the Vacheron. I bought them. Not a viewer, a friend who deals in luxury items, who sells big collections. She sells at Sotheby's and stuff like that. She deals with high level, rare Hermes Birkins and things like that. If you go to my Instagram, there's a shot of me sitting at the Regis Hotel with some glasses of wine. And then I kind of pan across the river. You see her in that. You can't see her face because I'm not going to do that. But you see her hands on her fur coat and so on. She likes the finer things in life. We went shopping for fur. It was her first time in Italy. She's like, I need all the fur hats. I saw so many cute fur hats. I'm like, okay. She also has a big collection of writing instruments, pens, Montegrappa pens. There's Mont Blanc, which is the famous French stuff. That's like the Patek Philippe of pens, but Montegrappa is like that. Jacob and Co. or something, or FP Jorn or something like that of pens. They're all fucking gold. I'd buy one myself, but like some of them are 80 grand, Anyway, so she came over with these, and I was like, I want that and that and that for me. So do me a nice price. Because I'm nice. Because I picked you up in a fancy taxi. I brought you for dinner. I did more than that, to be quite honest with you, but I'm not going to talk about that. So she did me, cost. So Brigade 7067 is mine, and the two Vacherons are mine. The Brigade I just showed you is not mine. I'll sell it on her behalf. And the Piaget and the Patek. I'd love to keep the Patek, but it's just not. It's 39 mil. It's a work of art, and it looks like someone already wants it, so. And that'll be that. She brought other pieces as well, but there's a lot of Gerard Perregaux. Was one actually I really liked, but in the end I was like, you know what, just bring those back with you and leave these with me. I'll keep these for me. I'll wire you the money, and then I'll sell the others to my audience. I'm sure they'll love them. I'm sure they'll love the prices. This is what happens when rich people squabble. It's like kittens under a cow udder, You got to run in under that and watch all the gold fall. When rich people decide they want to dump a shitload of assets. They're not nitpicking. They're like, I mean, the guy originally owns some. I think he has 300 watches or something in his collection. This is probably just very easy. I don't wear that one. Take that. Take that. Take that. Wire me the money. Okay. That's how the other half lives, guys. John, do I try to pronounce that name? I'll mess it up if I do. Do you ever see any FP Jorn in the wild in Venice? I do not. I do not. Good question. Here's an interesting one. Darren Roberts is on Instagram. The old watch lady selling her watches and leaving the watch space. Yes. I don't feel like I'm revealing anything you guys don't know because she did very publicly announce it. Yeah, I don't know. I reached out to her. Myself and the old watch lady don't speak since October 7th of 2023. We used to speak a lot. In fact, she was a very good patron of the channel for quite some time. And a funny woman and a smart and witty person who I remember her saying, there's nothing you could do to piss me off or offend me. Because she's kind of ballsy, you know. But it turns out there was something I could do to piss off and offend her. Because October 7th happened, and while everyone was screaming 40 beheaded babies, I was like, yeah, it sounds like bullshit, which it was. Complete. Babies in ovens. Fuck off. None of that shit happened. They're resisting. We know all about it in Ireland. An Irish person, especially someone from the Republic, even from the north of Ireland, takes one look at that situation, that shit over there, and fucking reads it immediately. I know exactly what's going on there. Looks familiar. But I guess it, I don't know, rubbed her the wrong way. And that was that. We didn't get any squabble or anything. She just retreated. So I was like, okay. Guess she's a Zio. Oh, well. Explains all the money. Explains the large watch collection, at least. But there was no real hard feelings. I was just like, all right. That's a shame. But we didn't really speak then for a very long time. And then I mentioned to her, I was like half drunk one night, like, I don't know, 6 or 8 months ago or something. And I kind of went on a rant about it. And then she reached out and was talking about her life and stuff like that. I'm not sure what that had to do with anything that I was mentioning, but whatever. She felt the need to say these things. I was like, oh. Bit of a sad story, honestly, but I'm not going to go into it for our own privacy, but interesting. And so that was that. But we don't speak, is what I'm saying. That's the point I'm trying to get at. Because I suppose there's some sort of animosity there or whatever. Maybe she just didn't want to hear about political stuff or whatever. Fine. So I didn't know anything. And then the other night, post went up on her Instagram that was very distressing, you might say. It was like, because I've had a horrible week, I'm leaving the watch world and my watches are left with a deal. I pray one thing, that watch collection didn't wind up in the hands of Spencer, Dreyer, and BQ watches. Something tells me, a little hunch I have tells me that's exactly where they went, but who knows? Because it's quite a collection, and I don't even think we've seen it all. Talking about works of art, Jesus. I think she has a couple of 5513s herself. Anyway, I did reach out to her. I just said, hey, I don't know what's going on, but I hope you're all right. And she said, thanks for reaching out. And that was all. So I don't know what happened. Something personal in her life, something to do with watches. I don't know why she would retreat from the watch world specifically, because that's not her only world. She has other things. And so perhaps it was watch related specifically. Was she robbed? Was there an attempted robbery? How would they do that? She's very anonymous. Who knows? We're all left guessing, which I suppose is the point of putting an alert message up and then not expounding on it at all. It leaves everybody guessing and talking about it, just like I am right now. The gossip begins. James, $10. Many serious items in the world, but thanks for a Friday evening to talk watches. Yeah, I don't always do that, as you know, but appreciate it. Bought myself a VC 4500V steel blue. That's a overseas, guys. That's a beautiful watch. Enjoy the weekend. Congrats on that watch. Charles says the Piaget is classy. I'll put it back on. It is. You should jump. Someone should jump on it. 7,500 is nothing for a fucking piece that goes for 20. What was it? 21. And 21, I think, is from Rocco used. It still has some stickers on. You clearly never wore it. I do like the tone, the rose gold tone of Piaget. Everybody does their rose gold slightly different. Look how, do you see it? Something about it. It's a very particular kind of rose gold. Hey, if I ended up keeping it myself, it's not going to go to waste. At least I have the risk for it. There is, sorry. Sergio. Didn't Old Watch Lady give Britt Pierce a Speedy? I think she gave her a watch, yeah. I don't know what watch it was, but I think she did. Old Watch Lady is kind of a patron of the art. She likes to support people that she enjoys. So that extends into watch YouTube space. And it would make sense that she would support a woman, you know. I actually know some other women in the watch world who are also supported by Old Watch Lady. It would make sense that a woman would like to help other women in the space. That would make sense, correct? It would make sense that a man would too. I supported Britt Pierce too. I just found out that was probably not a good idea yet. I was the OG of her support. But whatever. Tony says, I wish watches weren't so big like in the 60s era. Well, you know, I just had that rattly 5513 on. I was expecting it to look smaller on me, honestly, but it actually wasn't that bad. Fuck. But I hear where you're coming from. There's a lot of, you've seen on the red carpet and so on, a lot of people, a lot of celebs are wearing little slight dainty watches now. It's kind of taking a turn. John, kind of off topic. Are you still seeing Venice resist tourism? It doesn't resist tourism. What do you mean, like the entry fee thing they tried? I don't think that worked. They don't need to now. The city is empty. I love it. I was just saying to Simone yesterday, we were walking around. I was like, oh my God, I love the city when there's no one anywhere. I mean, a lot of places close, a lot of stores and restaurants and stuff close for the month of January. It's really their holidays because they stay open during Christmas and New Year's. And it's cold and dreary here. And of course, they have Carnivale coming up next month, late next month. So, you know, they want to stop right now, but I like it. It reminds me of the COVID days, honestly. It's so nice, so fucking peaceful. You get on the boat here and you're on the canal and there's not a ripple in the water. It's like a mirror. It's astonishing. It's not a great time to visit Venice because there's a lot of places closed, like the Florian is closed and so on. You can't go sit there and have coffee. And obviously the weather is kind of gray and dull. But everything else about this period is nice. Ticking time, 32, $10. I've been watching a lot of your old videos lately, and they always remind me why I love this channel. Thank you for saying that. Thanks for all the content, and don't ever change, brother. Cheers, man. That's a very nice thing to say. Thanks for saying that. Yeah, well, you know, I do have old videos that are worth going back and watching, right? It's not like some videos, like last week, it was Rolex prices have gone up. That's going to age. That video is already aged. It's already old hat. I may as well just delete it. Nobody's going to want to look at that video in 6 months, you know, whereas some of the videos are worth watching even 10 years from now, I would say. Just they kind of go beyond just the current info or whatever. Griff, yeah, I missed that comment. What do you mean you're missing? I do still do. I just put out, what was the one on the Cartier? It was only a couple of months ago. I just did the one on this watch, which I'll stick on. The new Nomadic. And I'm walking around Venice. And it's all arty, and this Nomadic winds really nicely. Is there a new chrono? Let me set it. Just do a rough setting. Can you believe it? I just got an email about this precise watch. 11:51. Oh wow! I felt the date change. It was like a vibration through the whole watch. This is the new Nomadic. That's an RT video, and there's a lot of Venice walking around. It's just Friday night. I sit here like an idiot and talk. Friday nights are different, guys. I don't know when you'll finally figure that out. It's the new Nomadic watch. Very nice. Those guys are unstoppable, man. Talk about a success story. God damn it. Michael, what sunglasses do you prefer? Oliver Peoples. I'm a big fan of Oliver Peoples. And I like Persol. But the ones, from the channel, the ones that are in the logo down here are just Armani, Emporio Armani, not even real Armani. They're relatively cheap. I think they were only 80 or 90 bucks. No, they're a bit more than that. But they're nothing special. They just suit my face. It's all about buying the sunglasses that suit your face shape, your head shape. That's the most important thing. Doesn't matter if they're $5 or $500 or $5,000. You can spend a lot of money on fancy sunglasses. But I have my favorite pair right now are the Oliver Peoples. I got them for my birthday last September. Patrick, what's your best watch video yet, in your opinion? In my opinion, the best watch, well, definitely, I can't say a best one, but one of the best is actually a Moonswatch video, the Saturn. Didn't get any fucking views. By the time I put out Moonswatch videos, people were over it. If I put one out the week it was released, I would have gotten millions of views. But it took me a while. And I realized that the attraction of the Moonswatch wasn't, well, in my opinion, was not that whether it was a good watch. It's not. It's a piece of quartz garbage. Or the fact even that it looks like a Speedmaster, although that definitely plays into it. I think it's the themes that really grab people. Or at least that's my theory. I might be wrong. It's the theme. Which one do you like? Jupiter? Mars? You're talking about our solar system. That's so fucking cool. And it probably rings a lot of bells for people because of astrology, people talking about the movement of the planets and how it affects you. People have favorite planets, and we've been worshiping the planets since the dawn of time, haven't we? And if there's any proof to programming in our DNA, conditioning in our DNA through the generations, well, clearly it's probably got it's probably exciting some sort of atom inside us, right? So that was the whole point. Secondly, that video is the video was the first time I got a prime lens. So I use a lot of different lenses, and I only have a couple of prime lenses. Prime lenses, you can't zoom or do any fancy shit with them, but they let in a lot of light. So you'll notice in some of my, especially my earlier videos when I didn't really know what I was doing, the daytime shots of the watch, lovely. But as the light falls into the evening and I continue filming maybe for a loom shot, you'll see some graininess in the image. What that is that the camera is not receiving enough information. And it makes it all look grainy, but not in a nice way, in a kind of a cheap looking way. Well, if you buy certain lenses, expensive lenses, and particularly prime lenses, they let in more light so you can film into the nighttime and you won't get that graininess. So I was finally able to shoot at night. And the beginning of most of that video, except for the very end where everything kind of becomes daylight and it matches with the music, is very late at night. And you see Venice with its shadows, which a lot of people miss. They come to Venice for the day and they go in a gondola and it's all nice and sunny. They don't see the murky, kind of spooky Venice. And there's a beautiful Venice late at night with all its strange shadows, pillars and so on. There are shadows across the concrete across the marble, etc., etc. And the moon swatch is the one I started with was Saturn, the Saturn moon swatch. And Saturn, you may not know this, nobody ever talks about it, but Saturn has the biggest shadow in our solar system. The biggest shadow, apart from when there's a lunar eclipse. Actually, no, including then. It's even bigger than that. It's way bigger than that. What am I talking about? Because Saturn has its big rings. They go out for 175,000 miles. They're enormous rings, very prominent. Most of the planets in our solar system once had rings, including Earth. They just dissipate. You just happen to be alive while Saturn has its rings. Eventually, they will go away in like 1,000,000 years or something. It'll take a long time. But for now, we have these beautiful rings around Saturn. Well, Saturn, when the sun hits Saturn, the planet, it casts a shadow across the rings on the other side. That shadow is the largest shadow in our solar system. It's much bigger than any shadow you've ever seen by an incredible amount. So I was able to film Venice in the shadow. So I called the video Shadows because I talk about the shadow and I talk about Venice and the strange, spooky Venice and all of that. And there's a lot of shots in that video that I was never able to get before on the channel. Like there's shots of the gondolas in the middle of the night and just spooky low lights, under the arches and the pillars and so on. And no grain, no nothing, because I'm using this 85 millimeter prime lens, which my daughter then stole off me. She's like, I want that fucking lens. Thank you very much. I replaced it, but and the music, the interaction of the music, because Gustav Holst created a suite of pieces about 120 years ago called The Planets, 140 years ago, 150, called The Planets, and it musically describes all the planets. It's been plagiarized a shitload. Mars, for example, was plagiarized heavily by John Williams in the Star Wars themes. When the Darth Vader or the Emperor, the Empire theme is like dun 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 dun, all of this kind of marching sound. Dun, 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 all of this stuff. Well, that's a complete rip-off of Gustav Holst Mars, because of course Mars was the planet of war. So red, so it's seen as an angry planet historically. So Holst wrote this music. If you listen to it, you'll think you're listening to Star Wars. But there's one in there called Saturn, and that's the music I use through the whole video. So it's truly, for me, what sometimes I go back and watch it. Nobody fucking watched it, but that's typical. When I go back and I watched it, like, I don't know, 6 months ago or more, I realize it's like a perfect just marriage of elements between the music, the cinematography that has never been seen before on the channel, completely broke through all boundaries that the channel had before. The themes were really, really strong. The whole thing just marries together really, really well. Oh yeah, how could I forget? It also has the longest shots ever seen on the channel. So there's a certain moment where you're looking up at the stars and you don't realize that one of them is Saturn. And I start to do zooms, and I have some big, heavy zoom lenses, and I shot in 8K, which is way higher resolution than I can even show you on YouTube. But I, zoomed it with the heavy lenses and start zooming in until you begin to see the shape of Saturn. And then there's a guy in Bologna in the Piazza Maggiore who has a monster telescope hooked up to a laptop. And I paid him for the footage to get some sick shots of Saturn. So there's a mad zoom in of Saturn on the channel. All this fucking work I go to. In the end, I should just be sitting here going, welcome back to my channel. This is my Tudor Pelagos is the best watch of the year. But instead, no, I'm like, no, I need a nighttime shot of Saturn. The people will love it. Anyway, there you go. It's not the only good video. There's other good ones I can go on about, but that's a 10-minute video, and I just bogged on about it for 40 minutes. Can you imagine I start talking about the Dam Busters or Interstellar? Interstellar was like, how long is Interstellar? It's in 2 parts. I don't know. It's like an hour and a half. Ireland is 3 hours. It's 2 hour and a half documentaries. I broke 3 drones. No, I broke 2 drones. I broke one. I lost the other. I went through 3. And that was just for the drone shots. That wasn't all the crazy cycling around barren landscape of Ireland and eating 60 different chowders. But really, I should just be sitting in the studio going on about Lugwith and yada yada. Glaxian, I like Bassano del Grappa, where you go to the cocktail bar. Yeah, that was back kind of at the beginning when I was discovering how to do this stuff. Yeah, I was just trying different cocktails. That guy uses me as a guinea pig. He's just like, okay, sit down, shut up. I'm just going to start handing you cocktails, different bizarre things. I'm like, okay. Yeah, that was nice. Nice video. Darren likes the floppy hands and the watches. That was the parody. I forgot about that video with the floppy hand. The hand goes crazy. Saj, does that new Omega Le Mans wear like a moon swatch in terms of size? Yeah, because it's the same. It's based on the same size, 42 mil. Yeah. Yes, it would. Michael, just listen to Holst Mars. Yeah, you can hear it, right? You never heard of Gustav Holst? Well, enjoy, man. All the planets are in there. Yeah, the very end is, here's the funny thing. When I did Dam Busters, right? Dam Busters is from 1955, the film, the original film, about, of course, Operation Chastise, astonishing military operation in World War II. But when George Lucas made Star Wars. Some people spotted a similarity between Star Wars and the Dam Busters. A lot of similarities, especially in the mission. And there are even shots, the shot in Star Wars when they're going over the Death Star and they have to find this track, this ridge, this kind of, what would you call it? Yeah, this lower track that they wind up following all the way down to the end where they shoot the missile down that's going to go down a little pipeline or something, blow up the whole thing, and they're being chased as they go down. It's a really great cinematic moment. Well, that's exactly the same thing as what the guys did in those Lancaster planes. They followed a river, and there's even a shot in Dam Busters where they actually turn onto the river, like they're coming up and then they turn onto the river, and then you get the reorientation of the river. And you can totally see in Star Wars the moment where they're going to cross the surface of the Death Star, and then they turn into that tunnel or pit or whatever you would call it. What is the word? I can't even think. It's almost identical shot. And there's all the turrets that are shooting at them as they go, identical to the Dam Busters. So I thought, well, I'm putting this documentary together and I'm going to use all this footage from the old film. I had to recut it myself and all of that, and add stuff just to build a drama. But I thought, well, if this is the original, then I should use the original music. So I used Mars. I used the Holst Mars in that documentary, and especially for those scenes. So in a way, it's kind of like the original Star Wars. Star Wars is using John Williams' plagiarized version. Sorry, John Williams, you're an amazing composer, but you do rip people off a lot. You copy a lot of great composers. He was using that, and Lucas was essentially plagiarizing this old 1955 movie. I'm going to use the original version of the music with the original riveting scene from Dam Busters. And even if you look at Star Wars, when he's finally Luke Skywalker's finally getting to the end and he shoots and then he pulls away from the Death Star and they're flying away, and eventually the Death Star just completely explodes. The music is dun, 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 those big stabs, the whole orchestra all at the same time. Well, I did exactly the same thing when they're dropping the bouncing bomb, the upkeep bomb, as it bounces, and I even timed the music. You see the bounce and you hear the music going down, down, and it all kind of matches up. I did exactly the same thing. It was fun. Michael, the history of Venice and how it came to be is unbelievable. I know. Well, earlier, maybe you missed the start. We had a little scare in the building. I thought there was a gas leak or something. And we figured out what it was. It wasn't. But I was hesitant to call the fire guys, pompieri as they call them here, the firemen, because I don't know about Venice, but if you did that in New York, if you call the fire department in New York and say there's a smell of gas in the hallway, they're at your house in about 60 seconds and they will break the door. They won't even wait till you answer the door. They will literally ram the door in. They will break everything until they find that gas leak, because it's super dangerous. Well, this city is built on wood, so the prospect of a fire breaking out could be completely disastrous. So we had a bit of a nervous scare earlier, but turns out it wasn't anything like that. Thank God. If you'll notice a lot of the chimneys you'll see in Venice have a weird top part to them, big thing, extra bit on the top, and it looks like a upside down box or a pyramid or something. It's weird shape on the top of their chimneys. What that is it's an extra furnace, so embers go up from fires. I mean, nobody uses an open fire anymore in Venice because that would be that's asking for a disaster. But you can imagine for hundreds of years, that was the only way they could heat a house, so they would light a fire. As embers go up, they get caught in that container thing at the top and they reburn. It's a way of stopping embers from just flying out of a chimney and landing on another building in Venice and then setting the whole city alight. I know it's a city on water, so you would think, oh, well, it has its own natural protection. But honestly, a big fire would take out this whole city. Time and Tester, what's my PayPal name? Oh, you want to send me a PayPal? It's the Timeless Watch Channel at gmail.com. It's the old name of the channel. That's the first name. The Timeless Watch Channel at gmail.com. Thanks, man. Trench, Darren. Thank you. Trench. Why was the word? Oh, God. Stay on target. There you go. Stay on target. The trench run. You see, I should have been reading the chat. I swear to God, if you'll see it in my, if you don't want to go back and find it in the original movie, you can see it in my Dambusters video. Just flick forward to the bit where they do the mission. You'll actually see the shot where they turn into the trench, because their trench was a river, and the river was going to lead them all the way to the dam. They used the river because they were doing it late at night, in the moonlight. The trench run. Freaking great. That's a good video. That's a really good one. It was way more work in that than there was in the Saturn thing. Like 1,000 times the work. I half lost my mind making that video. Out of bottles of wine. Alpine Adan, Omega Speedmaster Racing. I love those. I like them because the racing ones tend to be in 44 mil. So I like them. Yeah. DJ liked Lisbon as well. Yeah, that was a nice one. Yeah, Lisbon was nice. There's another place where I lost gear. I broke a zoom lens in Lisbon and a tripod. That's what happens when you go out and do these videos. You lose gear. Oh my God, I just got a big PayPal from Ryan. Thank you, man. Jesus. Means a lot. Thank you. I'll read your note later. Let me see. Oh, I watched for 5 years. Never made a contribution. Both my parents have been extremely sick, and I'm a young guy. I can't see the rest of the message. Thank you, man. And if the videos gave you something to watch to help you through tough times, I'm glad. I'm very glad. Thanks. Thanks for that. PayPal means a lot. You never know who's watching, do you? Highland Hamish, have you seen the Harrison Ford videos for Glenmorangie? I have. And they're really good. And there's ones for Lefroig. Is it who does it? The Lefroig ones is another famous actor, I think. Is it what's his name? Jesus. Yeah, the names. They're really good. I love those whiskey commercials. They're really smart. Yeah, but the Harrison Ford ones are really, really smart. Very arty. What do you say I go over to thank you, Time and Tested Legend. Do you have a channel, or is it called Time and Tested? Willem Dafoe. Thank you, Highland Image. Yeah, the Willem Dafoe ones are really good too. I love the cheekiness, the cheeky nature of the Scottish whiskey commercials. They don't romanticize their whiskey. They kind of almost make fun of it, which is really cool. The flavor profile, Lefroig in particular. Yeah. God, I should sit down sometime and go through the videos and see which ones I think are the best ones. I mean, Interstellar has to be up there, right? That's a fucking monster one. The Zero S ones are really good because they're telling amazing stories, very touching stories. Those stories tell themselves, you know. Even the Great Escape one from last year. And the funny ones. People love the funny ones. They love Lenny. There are still people out there who think Lenny is someone else. Someone else in the room talking to me. Isn't that funny? Sharon, I haven't seen it. Which one? Interstellar? Well, apparently it makes people cry, but I can't take full credit for that. It's a very emotional, powerful movie. I'm kind of working off of, honestly, it's more about, it's two movies. It's not just Interstellar, it's also 2001 Space Odyssey, because that's really what Interstellar is based on. He's kind of, there's more plagiarism in a way, you know. It's Chris Nolan going, I want to make my 2001 Space Odyssey. And just like Kubrick used Arthur C. Clarke as his consigliere on the physics of things, Christopher Nolan used Kip Thorne. Darren, Criminal Interstellar is on YouTube. No, YouTube won't carry it, but the video has the link. If you click on the video, it's just me sitting on the water explaining. You have to click on the link and it brings you over to a different service that has the video. Yeah, I know. No way around that, unfortunately. Really, the Interstellar video is really focusing on the concept of time, timekeeping and time in general, and what it is. Because it was kind of inspired. I explained it at the beginning. I was in Barcelona years ago with an ex, and her ex, she was still in contact. She had an amicable breakup with some ex of hers. He was actually from Venice, believe it or not. He's an astrophysicist, really smart guy, funny guy as well. And he worked with Kip Thorne. He knows Kip Thorne. And astrophysics is his thing. But she kind of maintained contact just as a friend. They knew each other so well from years and years. But anyway, we were in Barcelona, and he was in Barcelona with his new girlfriend. So she goes, "Hey, would you be interested in doing a dinner?" And I was like, "God, we've been together, 2 months, and you want to introduce me to ex-boyfriends?" I was like, "You're lucky I'm very magnanimous." Okay, fine. Let's do it. Actually turned out to be fucking great night. Guys, fucking a lot of fun. And so it was the four of us at dinner. We met at some flashy restaurant in Barcelona. We got Vega Sicilia Unico wine. And we didn't talk about physics because it was the girls were there, you know. We were just chatting about funny stuff. But at a certain point, they get up and go to the bathroom, you know, girls when they go to the restroom. So I'm there with him. I was like, "Listen, I don't want to." I'm sure you get asked questions about Kip Thorne and astrophysics all the time. You're probably not interested. So, but can I just ask you a quickie? You know, because obviously I want to pick the guy's brain. I'm crazy about science and physics and everything. It's my favorite shit in school. My big subjects in school were obviously music, but then physics and mathematics. That's the stuff I was best at. And anyway, I was like, before the girls come back from the, "Do you mind if I ask you?" And actually, my question was a pretty heavy one. I said, "Do we know what time is?" And he goes, "Well, there's a long way of answering that, obviously, but we're not going to do it because we're at dinner." He goes, "Well, the short answer is no. We have no fucking clue what time is. We don't even know if it's actually there at all." So the interstellar thing is more about that. It's about what we perceive time to be and what actually time is. We might be looking at something and thinking it's something, but it's actually something else. Like the guy who grows up in a cave, he has no legs, he can't move, and someone lights a fire behind him every night. And there's a shadow cast of himself on the wall, and he grows up thinking that every night a strange creature arrives on the wall and imitates his movements. Actually, all it is his own shadow. It's just there's a fire behind him. He thinks he's seeing a thing that's actually something else. And that might be the closest explanation we have to what we think time is. We think we're looking at something that's actually the result of something else. Jim Patterson, we invented time. Well, we certainly invented the measurement of time. The measurements of time is just our trip around the sun divided into little slices. That's all that is. Some alien lands on our planet and we show them a watch. The alien will go, "What's the tick mean?" We'd be like, "Well, that's 1 second." And they'd be like, "Why did you choose exactly that interval?" "Well, that's 1/60th of 1/60th of one of the of our trip around the sun." They'd be like, "Oh, your little star there? Okay, got it. That's cute." You know, it has no relevance at all anywhere else in the universe. It's just our way of mapping out our year. That's all. It don't mean anything. Nothing significant, at least. Mind you, right now I'm working on the John Harrison story. And the whole way, figuring out how to locate yourself on the planet was such a huge hurdle for man to cross. So I'm dealing with that. That reminds me, yeah, how could I forget how a watch works? That was a good video. I enjoyed making that one. I like getting philosophical, you know me. Anyway, it's 25 minutes into Dirk's show, and I always go over and keep him company on a Friday night and bring you guys over so we can talk. There's another guy who knows a lot about space. Dirk can talk a dog off a meat truck, as he would say, about space. Michael, does anyone really know what time it is? Does anybody really care? That's a good question. Should we actually care? Because actually in Interstellar, it explores the idea of love as a tangible thing, as connection between people and so on, being a quantifiable force. And yes, I do talk about the four great forces of the universe. Strong nuclear force. I don't really talk about weak nuclear force. Maybe I'll try and talk about weak nuclear force next time I'm talking about something like that. But I do talk about gravity and strong nuclear force in particular. Yeah, all fun stuff. What Chris Nolan did that Kubrick didn't do is Chris Nolan was able to make a human story. There isn't much humanity in Kubrick's movies. Kubrick's movies, for all their genius, are cold movies. They don't appeal to the heart much. They appeal to the mind. What Chris Nolan achieved was something that appeals to the heart and to the senses, the emotional senses, emotional faculties, which was quite an achievement. And actually, as it happens, turns out to be essential to the story. So it's pretty cool. But he'll never make 2001. Everybody wants to remake 2001, and no one will ever do it. Even if Kubrick were still alive, he wouldn't be able to redo it. The travel, like the monolith's journey from the physical to the divine. I mean, there's so much to dissect in that movie, and I was really happy to include a lot of it in that documentary. Just because think of all when the monolith appears in the movie and what that represents between the physical, the spiritual, the intellectual, and then the travel to the divine, because its final appearance represents the divine, which some might say is what separates us from the rest of the animal kingdom. But that's a conversation for another day. Mike Sawtell, great to see you, brother. $20. Here's $20 for Lenny. Tell him I loved the singing on the Zenith Chronomaster. Oh yeah, that was fun. I forgot about that. Shit, there's so much stuff. What's this? What's this? Daytona in the skies. I forgot about that video. What the fuck was I thinking? How drunk was I? Whenever I'm down, I put on Lenny's Zenith video. Wow. I gotta go back, watch that. I haven't seen that in years. Or the Palm Fronds. People love the Palm Fronds video. Palm Fronds. Oh, God. I fucking belong in the loony bin, I tell you. I should be in a straitjacket. I shouldn't be let free, roaming around Venice smoking cigars. I should be in a fucking padded cell. Anyway. Darren Roberts, good watch talk tonight. Well, I figured I'd do it. Why not? Give you guys a break from all that stuff. Past couple of weeks were kind of heavy. I apologize. Oh, yeah, so let me surmise. 8,500 for that. If you don't buy it, I will. I kind of love it now. 75 for a fucking solid rose gold Piaget. Ultra thin. Ridiculous. I can't tell you the price of this work of art thing. Breguet wanted 180,000 for it. They're going for, what was it, 48, 45 or something on Chrono. It's even less than that, so. And that was that. The only other thing, oh yeah, then there was the Cartier, although I don't know. The only other thing is we still have the Frollo watches. I'm actually doing a shoot with a model next week. A male model, sorry guys. For these watches. This is my favorite. Do I have the I have a blue one here. Blue is nice. The blue is lapis lazuli. It's actually stone, and this is tiger eye. And this is my favorite one because look how the light changes. It's really exaggerated when the sun comes in and catches the stone. The light on the that's very hard to illustrate here, but the light changes on the dial. These are still available. They're on the OshinoMaliChannel.com store. Lovely. There's blue, there's this one, there's the Starlight Murano marble one, or Murano glass one. That's the black one with the star reflections in there. The marble one I think is sold out, the white. And then there's a green one, which is malachite. All stone, real stone dials. Very proud of these. You know where to get them. All right, let me get the hell out of here. What's the Rolex I'm selling in DJ? You obviously came late. It's the 5513. Vintage 1970s 5513 Submariner. This is harking back to the Sean Connery days, or, well, a little after that. Let's stick it on. It's a beaut. No boxing papers, a new watch, but doesn't matter. It's from Frollo. It's all kosher. Don't you worry. Look at that thing with the natural patina. Gorgeous. We'll leave this on, actually. All right, let me go over to Dirk. I'll grab you guys the link. Kind of a headache from that vino, strangely. He's got an okay crowd already over there. That's great. There's the link in the chat. I'm going to click on it directly, go over. I'll see you guys there in 10 seconds. Thanks for hanging out. More real content on its way. This was, again, just the live stream chat. Bit of a chin wag with you guys directly. It's all fun. Thank you so much for the PayPals and the super chats, guys. You know who you are. And I will see you guys very soon. Peace. Love. Ciao. See you over there with Dirk.